Hello everybody, welcome to the Primeval Labs YouTube. It's Stephanie Sanzo here and I'm going to be taking you through my leg workout today. It's going to consist of deadlifts, my favourite, and then accessory work after that. So before I begin, I always like to make sure that I am properly fueled and looked after during my session. So I like to take you through the kind of supplements that I have, whether it's before, during, or after. So I haven't had anything before. I haven't had caffeine, any pre-workouts because I've had coffee and it's kind of gone to my head already. So I'm going to go ahead and make my intro workout, which is intracell. Now, you can, a lot of people may feel funny about, or maybe women may feel funny about having a serve of carbs during their workout because they'd rather get it from food. But I find that my sessions are pretty big and hectic, and that if I don't have this, I'm actually more tired and I can't get through my whole session without crashing. So I find that the carbs and the amino acids in this, as well as the electrolytes, keep me going throughout my session, and I feel a lot more alive and can actually finish the damn thing instead of falling apart. So this is staple supplement in my diet that oh my gosh. I'm not learning. Yeah, this is something that I have like every time I train.
You just did it again.
That's my life. It's actually, do you know what I really like about the freaking supplement? I've had powders that go into your drink and honestly don't mix, that just stay chunky, and then you kind of like have a big sip and then you just like get a chunk of it in your mouth. It's quite feral. Whereas this supplement just mixes like a dream. Well, this is my go-to flavor, pineapple, mango in everything. And it's an absolute, I don't know what to compare it to, but hang on. I would like to compare it to actual mangoes and pineapple with a little bit of like zing. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be having today. I'm gonna clean up my mess before I get in trouble by somebody. Right, now that we're all set, let's go out in this hot weather. It's, what degrees is it here today? 40 degrees?
It is 42 degrees.
Before I start my sessions, I like to stretch, and I'm prone to injuries because of, number one, not stretching in the past, and number two, probably overtraining as well. My muscles can get really, really tight, which doesn't really work for me when I'm doing a lift. There's also like a point where there's too much stretching and it's actually not good for your training session. So I like to spend about 10 minutes just doing some really simple stretches to the muscle groups that I'm working. I'm just rolling out my quads. I like to put all my weight, so some people may like put their foot in front for support and kind of roll out, but I like to really put as much weight as I can on my muscles so I can really get into it as hard as I can, and it hurts. But that's how I like to do it, with as much weight as possible. Just really get in there, rolling back and forth. Find a point that really hurts and kind of sit on it as well for a little bit and put as much pressure as you can into it. That's going to help release the tension in the muscle as well. I usually roll for about like a couple of minutes. ITB, quad, hamstrings, bit of glutes. Yeah, and then go from there. Finishing off with some dynamic stretches. Once again, using the glute and the hip. Just getting some blood flow. Doing about like 15 swings, bringing it right up, keeping as still in the torso as possible, and swinging back. This is going to also help increase your range of motion during the exercises you're trying to do, because obviously the more blood flow that you have, the more stretched out you are, the further you can go. So all of this just takes time. It helps that it's actually hot today, so my muscles are already feeling pretty warm. Really simple exercises. I really highly recommend stretching. Like I said earlier, it's something I didn't do in the past and it caused a lot of, well, I think it was a main contributor to some of my injuries that I had previously and still continue to deal with to this day. Always make sure that you spend some time looking after your body and preparing before your lifts. I'd like to kind of start my working deadlifts with a partial rep. So as you just saw before, I was coming up only probably to my knees. This helps me kind of get into position and almost teach myself the patterning of how the deadlift's going to go instead of just jumping straight into it. So it helps me switch on the muscles that I need to use, as well as just getting in that really nice tight position. So Some people might kind of just grab it and go boom. I like to know and kind of teach myself the patterning of where I'm going to start and where I'm going to stay for the rest of the movements. So for me, I've been taking it wider lately, and my hips are allowing me to do that because I'm warm. And I'm going to also come down just until I can basically kind of grab the bar. I'm not going to be too low where I'm squatting it and where I'm all loose. So this, yeah, getting in that half rep position and kind of stopping teaches me to keep the tension and find the right positioning. So I'll do like 1 or 2 sets of that and then move into like the full range movements. The plan for deadlifts at the moment is to strip them back. So 2 weeks ago I peaked at 155 kilos. That was my PR top deadlift, and now I'm doing my own build program which I have produced through the Sweat app. So I'm doing a 12-week challenge alongside the girls that are doing my program. So I've stripped my weights back down to the beginner of the program. So I'll be going, today I think I'll be doing 125 at the most. I started at 110 last week, so I'll creep my way back up slowly again and see if I can get a 160 PR, which is the goal. And I think people think that heavy all the time is good and it will help them progress, but it doesn't. Trying to hit PRs all the time isn't going to increase your strength. Kind of stripping it back and doing volume and multiple sets and practicing form and all that kind of thing is going to help you progress with your lifts long term. Sometimes when you're repping it out like that, you can have the tendency to fall forward, and when you fall forward, you push the bar away and it makes it harder. So I'm just trying to ensure that I'm staying tight with my lats, keeping the bar close and keeping it in an upright position instead of like this, instead of like dropping the bar and falling forward and then having to like get back in position. So I'm just making sure I'm tight and popping up like this and keeping that tension in my lats and in my hips as I come up and down, and really utilizing my legs to kind of leverage the weight up as well. So yeah, I think especially when you are repping it out, it's really important to stay tight and not, you know, lose that positioning.
Six. 8. Nice.
It just never gets easier, no matter what's on the bar. I'm gonna have 100 kilos on there and you'll be like, do 15. It's always challenging, no matter the weight. But that's the whole point, isn't it? So basically what happened is I got so hot at the gym back at home that I was getting a bit lightheaded, and it was just like, it's disgusting. Everyone was just dying. So we've had a little break, probably about 2 hours, would you say, Corey?
That's about that.
Yep, and so we've kind of rehydrated, has something light to eat, Skittles, and we've come back here to the gym. I'm going to do the accessory work here. I'm also just adding on to, we've done our primary movement, which was the deadlifts, and now we're doing like things like isolation work to really pop the glutes and work on the legs. So now when I am doing a hip thrust, I think about pushing through my heels and squeezing my glutes and really pushing hard through the heels to kind of activate my glutes, and not like, it's hard to explain, but like not extending so much and just kind of having like a, I would say a relaxed, what would you say? I have to explain.
You'd roll your hips under?
Yeah, like I don't like extend all the way like this. I come about there, but when I push through my like heels, I'm able to like squeeze my glutes better without like overextending. So yeah, just really focusing on that squeeze at the top and even staying there for like, you know, half a second before just coming down. Yeah, so and using a band to help activate as well. I find that really helps me be aware of my glute needs as well. So So one of the biggest tips when you're doing a pull through is make sure that you keep your back nice and tight, almost like an L shape. Don't allow it to like curve, otherwise you're going to lose all that tightness through your hamstrings and you're not going to work the muscle that you're trying to work. So, and then when you come through, like pull through and squeeze the glutes, so thrust your hips through at the top if you can. So I'm not really normally big on all that muscle-mind connection, I'm going to be honest with you. I've done that in the past, all the like starting at the bottom and kind of working my way up, so I naturally know how to muscle-mind connection already as it is. And like I was saying to you, Corey, you know, when it comes to weight training, sometimes I'm just wanting to get through it. And like, for example, before you asked me what am I thinking about when I'm switching on, what muscle groups I'm switching on when I'm doing the pull through, and I was saying to you that it's pulling me back because it's so heavy. So naturally, I'm switching on my core to stabilize myself, and I'm making sure that I'm planted on the ground as well, so I don't get pulled back. So, like I was saying, like naturally, when a weight's heavy, you learn very quickly how to switch on real fast, and I think that core stability is a huge part of whatever you do. So for example, this, I'm like keeping tight in my core, pushing my hips into the seat, and when I'm coming up and squeezing, I'm thinking about folding my hamstrings in half, if that makes sense, so they meet each other. So it's like I'm thinking, extend, bring this guy to this guy, and that kind of like makes me think about squeezing, if that makes sense.
Good weight up.
When I see people do the one leg push down, a lot of girls will kind of come all the way up and totally lose connection with their glutes. So what you want to do is keep your hips level, push to about there, and then push through, extend. To about there, extend. You don't want to come up and completely lose glute activation. So that's the end of my session today. It was a hot day, but I still managed to stay positive and just get it done. I'm pretty sure I've sweat through this beautiful what was white top. Yeah, so thank you for stopping by and checking out this channel and watching me. I would love if you would drop a comment because I want to hear back from you. I want to know what you're thinking, how you feel, if I'm doing it right, if I'm doing it wrong, all your opinions, whatever you want. Tell me if you like this top or not, I don't know. Yeah, so drop a comment, subscribe to this page, Primeval Labs. We love them. They are a big supporter of me, and support them back by following their page. So yeah, I'll catch you really soon on the next video. Stay tuned.